Hey video people, so I am here to dive in to my wedding videography kit. When I started off as a wedding filmmaker, I felt very overwhelmed by all the different types of cameras that were out there, what lenses to use for certain situations of the day. So I thought I would dive into what I've got and maybe it could work for you, maybe not. But yeah, just thought I would share. Okay. Let's get into this. So let's start with camera bodies. I use the Sony series. I know Panasonic as well as Sony, they tend to be, in my opinion, the leading cameras for wedding videography. I decided to go with Sony because not only does it shoot 24 frames in 4K, this one in particular is a hybrid photo video camera, but I decided to go with Sony because of the autofocus feature. If you have not used autofocus when you're with your wedding filmmaking life, try it out, test it out. I personally think it's a game changer. My backup camera is actually the Sony a7S II. With this body in particular, I'm only on manual focus. I just don't trust autofocus on this camera. My personal preference, I have friends who do, but I don't. But I use this as my backup camera. So say something happens or I'm in a particular situation where having a fourth or fifth angle is kind of a cool deal, I'll throw this guy up. What do I use for getting ready? All right, so let's start. The beginning of a wedding day, where are you usually? You're getting ready with the bride or the groom. So the lenses that I like to use for my detail shots, so close-ups of lace, the dress, the jewelry, the invitations, I like to bust out my macro lens. It's a Canon lens with an adapter so that I can fit it onto my Sony bodies. I will have to go manual focus when I'm using this lens, but I find that these really tight shots complement the medium to wides that I get when I am kind of showcasing all the pretty things that a couple really use to illustrate their day, kind of make it more their own style. The medium to wides, I actually use my Sony G Master lens, which I'm using for this video. That's what's recording right now. So sorry I can't like physically show it to you, but here's a picture of it. I love this lens. For me, I prefer the power of zoom. I have a lot of friends that only shoot prime lenses all day long. For me, there's just too many situations where it's hard for me to bop in, bop out. Having the zoom lens gives me the flexibility that I want to kind of go in and out of certain situations. What I like to use for my Steadicam lens, right now my favorite is the Tamron 28-75. Kind of an awkward number, but it's pretty equivalent to the 24-70 range. I feel like I could still achieve all the different dimensions that I want within my medium to tight frames. And because this is an E-mount lens, I can put it onto my Sony bodies, and it does give me autofocus. Another reason why I love this lens is it is so lightweight. I did start off using my 24-70 G Master as my Steadicam lens, but that is just a beast of a setup. It is very heavy. And for me, not being so strong with my upper body strength, I prefer something that's going to work a little bit better for me on the lighter scale. So that's the setup that I like to use for getting ready. Why don't we take a look at a little montage so you can see how all those getting ready clips together.
Always be my queen in your tight black jeans. I will kneel in honor of your majesty until my legs get weak, until my hair is gray. I'll color all your days.
All right, so now that we're done with getting ready, where are we? Most likely we're getting ready for ceremony. So I'm going to start capturing all those details before setting up for the ceremony itself. I like to then bust out my prime lens. So I know I talked earlier about the zooms, but when it comes to details, I do really like to use the prime lenses for the details. And mostly because you could bring it down to a really, really sexy aperture, like 1.6, 1.8. So I'll take this guy with the adapter because I have a Canon 35, put it on my Sony. I'll be manual focus, getting tights and wides with my 35. Because I can't zoom, I do have to physically move in tighter to grab those tight shots. But doing that at a 1.6, it's beautiful. Then I can pull out pretty easily to get a nice wide with my 35. Boom, bam, thank you, ma'am. Those are the details. Alrighty, so now we are going to set up for the ceremony itself. Every company you talk to may do this a little bit differently. This is what works best for me. I like to have myself and my second shooter on the sides of the ceremony site. So I'll have a tripod with a 70-200 lens. So I have my Sony 70-200. This is honestly my favorite lens in my entire kit. I can do so much with this guy, but I really take him out first at ceremony to get a nice 3-shot of the bride, groom, and officiant from both sides. The reason why I like to get a 3-shot is because I like to get, if the officiant's talking or the bride and groom are talking, you kind of see all 3 of them. Because I shoot in 4K, I do have the ability to zoom in and go tighter on a particular person if I would like to. But this just gives me the distance that I need from my subject to my camera, where I'm not interfering with the experience of, the audience, the crowd, people there actually attending the wedding, as well as I'm not interfering with the photographer and being in their way. And then I'm usually on my Steadicam down the middle, using, again, my 28 to 75 Tamron lens, and down the middle on the opposite end, kind of like my standing camera, just getting the wide shot in the back, I have my 24 to 70. So I have my 2 medium length lens down the middle and my 2 long lenses to the side, and it's a 4-camera setup for the ceremony. So let's take a peek at what that setup looks like in this next montage.
The boy inside your dream. I can't believe you threw down all your chips on me. Black inside my blood, gold inside.
All right, so getting ready's done, the ceremony's done. Up next is usually the romantics as well as like the bridal party shots. So for romantics, I usually like to have myself or my second shooter on the Steadicam lens. So busting out the Tamron again for Steadicam. And then I like to complement, because Steadicam is going to be medium to wide, I like to complement those shots with the tighter angles, which is the 70-200. With the 70-200, I like to get mediums to really tight, like zooming in there, getting nice and intimate with a couple. So these 2 lenses together, medium wide, medium tight, help create the stories that happen for the romantics as well as the bridal party shots.
Saying be all you can be. You gotta keep the truth in your heart. Believe when you can't see. You don't see the sign. Give it time. Won't reach the top without the climb.
Right before reception begins, I'm just gonna leave this guy right here so he's easy to grab because we haven't seen the end of him. Before reception begins, we're going back in with our 35 to get details of reception. And now that we're setting up, what's going to happen, right? Dances, toasts, tosses, bouquet, wait, that's tosses. Dances, toasts, tosses, cake cutting. Those are the big events that we want to get prepared for. So I take out my 70 to 200 lens, and this is the angle that I have as my tight shot on who is presenting the toast. I want a tight shot of the cake cutting, who's going to be catching the bouquet. This guy is going to get all of that. As my medium to wide, I have my 24 to 70 lens, which is on my body, getting this right now. And then if I want a third angle as like a safety angle, I'll just bring out the Tamron 28 to 75 lens once more. Almost forgot, as far as audio is concerned, I use 2 different sources to obtain my audio. I actually have this guy is stuck on there, so he forever lives in my Zoom recorder. This is a nice 1/4 inch cable. It still works, so we're good to go. He's just always got a cable locked and loaded. So I have a Zoom and I have a Tascam. I do plug both of these into the ceremony and the soundboard or a speaker for reception, because I've just hit a point in my career where it's really important to always have a backup. Always, always, always have a backup audio. You'll be so happy that you do in the situation that something goes wrong, and you will never regret it. Have a backup. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for watching. That is my wedding filmmaker's kit. If you would like to see or learn anything more specific about a piece of gear that I have, leave it in the comments below and I'll take a look and do a little video for you. Thank you guys. See you next time.